There it is. There's your personal development journey, start to finish. Where are you in this? You don't have to answer me. It's none of my business. But you do have to answer yourself. Where are you in this personal development journey? Because it will inform you of what you need to do next. You don't need me, right? You just need this lesson, and then you can go figure it out on your own. Love hanging out with you all, but you don't need me for this. You've got this lesson. If I were to keel over tomorrow, you could still make that journey. It's like a map of how to get there. To make a return to God in creation, because you are God in creation. When God in creation rolled out the magic carpet of the cosmos, it was a part of itself that was rolled out. Your job is to make that return. Roll back in so that there's an expansion. Aggregation is the proper term for it. In other words, God is also on a personal development journey. I don't know if you've ever thought of that, but God's on a personal development journey. It's quite clear, actually, if you look at the geological and biological history of our planet, at one point in time, the absolute best God could do here was mineral life. I mean, crystals that grow. Wow, minerals, yeah, those sorts of things. Skip forward several eons, and you got single cell organisms. It's because those minerals returned, made the trip up the rate of creation with their knowledge of things like growth and those sorts of things. God then aggregated that information and said, I wonder what would happen if I wrap that into something carbon-based. And single cell organisms all of a sudden, an octave apart from mineral life. And then those single cell organisms made a return to God in creation, and God went, all right, multicellular organisms. Actually, not quite that. It's actually more like, let's get them all to work together for one purpose. And you get sponges, for example. Yeah. Sponges come back up the ray of creation. And then you get multicellular organisms with distinct, or I should say discrete features. And they start having digestive tracts and protective organs and things like worms and all this sort of thing. Eventually you get up to things like mammals. Now there's all kinds of mammals. And then eventually you get to, well, I won't go into this because I can't do it. Anyway, you get to one particular type of mammal known as an ape. Oh, interesting. They can do things that the other ones can't quite do. And then you get human. Right? This is the process. God is on a personal development journey based on what it puts out there and what it receives back. This should tell you something also too about how to go about a personal development journey. What are you putting in your own ray of creation that's going to then make a return to you? What does your magic carpet look like? Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's it. Easy peasy, right? That's how you do a personal development journey. I get it now. Piece of cake. But it is actually easy from the standpoint of if you understand creational mechanics, solar dynamics, ecologies, and the natural laws, 9 through 1, you can do it. You can figure it out. You know what your next step is. Always. If you're honest with yourself, if you think you're already a man number 3 or 4 or something like that, and you're really not, in other words, if you lie to yourself, this work against lies, self-deception especially, then you won't. But if you're honest and have integrity with yourselves, what I am invested in is God and creation. this is an avenue. This is one aspect of what I'm putting into my own rate of creation that then returns, you know, just like you. I mean, I'm not taking anything from you, but if I invest something of me into you and I get that kind of return, it's then warmed. And you tell me things that I never thought of before, for example. I aggregate because of this very activity. Right? But it's not personal. It's creational.
Right.
That's what I'm invested in creation. Yeah, okay. Cook on it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is aggregation for you.
Yes.
All right. You'll confirm it later. Confirmation is just literally projecting outside of you. This kind of work that I do with you is part of my confirmation aspect because I like to see what I get back.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
if I get crap back, then I must be putting crap out. If I get enhancement back, then I'm putting enhancement out. It's a good kind of feedback mechanism. Know the path, but don't stress about what's next. Know the path, know where you are on the path, and just begin to take the next step. I mean, that's how you'd make any journey, isn't it? Right? You're trying to get to the peak of that mountain there. You should know you're here. You don't want to see yourself as halfway up the mountain, right? You think you're halfway up the mountain and you're really here. That's just self-deception. No, I'm standing here. I'm walking from this spot. You have a goal or an aim is the right work term for it, but you have an aim in mind of where you want to get to. But the way you get there is by focusing on each and every step as you make the journey. Those are the only three things required of you. Don't lie to yourself, know your aim, and know where you are. And so 4 things, and take a step.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's also another form of self-deception. It's a different form of lying to yourself if you think you're on a journey and you're really just sitting there.
Yeah.
People do it all the time. I mean, especially in this work. This work is actually very prone to that kind of self-deception where you think you're on a journey, but somewhere inside you know you're not doing the work. By the way, this is much harder than any other way. You would think, putting yourself in a position or having just amazing devotion or memorizing all the sutras, you would think those are really hard. This is actually harder because you're doing all 3 simultaneously for one. But no one knows you're doing it. Only you know you're doing it. You can still go to work, you can still interact with people and not be looked at like a fruitcake or whatever the case might be. In general, you shouldn't be floating around the grocery store, magically collecting your items on a magic carpet through Safeway or whatever.
Right.
You look and act completely normal. Outside, that's the presentation. Inside, you have a raging development journey going on. Powerful. Okay. Yeah, that's about all I got.